Hi everyone, you're going to learn here about epicenter, focus, intensity, and magnitude. One of the important terms that you need to remember in learning earthquake is all about epicenter. The epicenter or epicentrum in seismology is the point on the Earth's surface directly above the hypocenter or focus, the point where an earthquake or an underground explosion originates. Observing this diagram example here, you will notice that the hypocenter or the focus starts where there's the fault line or the earthquake fault, and above the hypocenter or the focus is the epicenter. For better understanding, you will notice another diagram or illustration here wherein the focus is of course in the fault line of the earthquake, and you will see that above that is the epicenter. So the epicenter is the point on the ground directly above the focus, and the fault is a weak point in the tectonic plate where pressure within the crust is released. Don't forget, focus is where the earthquake begins. Here is another example of a diagram that shows the fault line, epicenter, and hypocenter. There are different kinds of faults or earthquake faults. First is we call it the convergent or thrust fault. Second is the divergent or the normal fault, and transform is also called strike-slip fault. You will notice that in a convergent, the arrow on the right moves up the landmass, and the opposite, of course, goes down. While on the divergent, the arrow on the landmass on the right actually goes down, and it's actually reverse opposite direction for the landmass on the left side. However, on the strike-slip fault, it means to say that it goes to the right direction of the landmass. So it means to say that it really goes into half of the landmass. So also we call it transform. As mentioned earlier, the hypocenter is the point within the Earth where the earthquake rupture starts. The epicenter is the point directly above it at the surface of the Earth, also commonly termed the focus. Another important term that you need to learn in learning earthquake is called intensity. Intensity is the severity of earthquake shaking is assessed using a descriptive scale, the modified Mercalli intensity scale. For magnitude, earthquake size is a quantitative measure of the size of the earthquake at its source. The Richter magnitude scale measures the amount of seismic energy released by an earthquake. This is an example of seismic intensity scale and estimated physical damage. The scale ranges from 0 up to 7 scale. To look for an example in easier earthquake intensity scale, this one is great for you to identify them based on the modified Mercalli intensity scale. So the earthquake at Sparta was measured at 5.1. 1. Not felt by most people. 2 and 3. It's weak, felt by a few people, may feel by a passing truck. For the intensity 4, it's a light, dishes, windows, doors disturbed. For intensity 5, it is moderate, some dishes, windows broken. For intensity 6, that is strong, some heavy furniture move. 7, very strong, some building damage possible. For intensity 8, severe, chimneys could fall, heavy furniture overturned. And for the intensity 9, it's violent, considerable building damage. And intensity 10, extreme, most masonry and frame structures destroyed. The third most important term that you need to learn about earthquake is magnitude. Magnitude is the most common measure for an earthquake size. It is a measure of the size of the earthquake source, and it's the same number no matter where you are or what the shaking feels like. The Richter scale is an outdated method for measuring magnitude that is no longer used by the USGS for large teleseismic earthquakes. The Richter scale measures the largest wiggle amplitude on the recording, but other magnitude scales measures different parts of the earthquake. The USGS currently reports earthquake magnitudes using the moment magnitude scale, though many other magnitudes are calculated for research and comparison purposes. Intensity is a measure of the shaking and damage caused by the earthquake. This value changes from location to location. So I hope that it is very clear for you about the differences between magnitude and intensity.